Greetings, my children, I have a story to tell you. Story? Once upon a time there was a very rich man. One day he gathered all his belongings and went to live in another city. On the way there he met a stranger. After their greetings, the stranger began to walk alongside him. He pretended that he was a peaceful companion, but after a while, when they reached a quiet place, the stranger said, "I am going to kill you now. Who will save you?" The rich man looked around and saw no one. Then he looked up and saw a pigeon sitting on a tree. He said, "This pigeon will save me." The stranger was amazed and began to laugh, and he killed the rich man and took all his belongings, and he went to a city and settled there. Since he had become a very rich person, he began to be invited into the palace whenever there was a feast and a meeting. One day the king organized a very big feast and called all the community in the city, including the stranger. The banquet was sumptuous with many kinds of food, and the people ate according to their tastes. So the stranger began to choose from the food what he liked. In the process he came upon a roasted pigeon. He remembered how he had killed the rich man and he laughed. When the king saw him laughing, the king, thinking that he was mocking him, ordered his soldiers to grab the stranger and kill him. And then the stranger decided to tell the reason why he laughed, since he was going to be killed anyway. So the king listened and had him killed, and all the stranger's property was given back to the red inheritors of the rich man. A long time ago there lived a man called Corona in the city of Connor. He was a Tangulania, a mischief maker and a thief. But in the city of Connor it was not long before the citizens knew about his character. So wherever he went people began to point their fingers at him. He thought, since my character is well known to the citizens, I'd better leave this town and go to another city where no one knows me. So, similarly, another well-known thief called Sangara, from another town, decided to leave his town and go to another town. So Corona takes a gourd and fills it with ash and puts a very small amount of honey on top of the ash and started his journey to go and sell it. Sangara also fills a gourd with sand with a small amount of butter on top of it and goes off to sell it in the other town. On their way they met each other swapping towns. After the greetings, Corona told Sangara that he was going to the town to sell his honey. Then Sangara said, "Well, I am going to the other town to sell my butter and buy honey, so if you don't mind, I'll be glad if we can exchange our goods." So they agreed, and exchanged their goods. So both of them were happy and felt they had succeeded in cheating someone at last and went their own way. When they reached their respective houses they opened their goods, and to their astonishment found they had been cheated. So they both were angry and decided to go to the place where they exchanged the goods. When they reached that place they met and at once decided to make peace and work together because both of them have now become well-known thieves. So they decided to go to a third town and start work to make a living. After a long journey they reached Yina's house and both found work there. Corona was assigned to look after a cow. Sangara was assigned to clean the compound. Then one day Corona took the cow out to the fields. Suddenly the cow started to run. So he started to chase and began to zigzag after and spent the whole day running back and forth. At the end of the day the cow stopped. So he took the cow to the house. Corona spent the whole day trying to clean the compound by sweeping the ground, but the wind was very strong, so as soon as he finished one area, the wind immediately blew the dust back again. When evening came the wind stopped and he was able to sweep it properly. While they were sleeping, in the night, Corona said, "My work is very easy. I just sit under a tree and watch the cow eating grass." Sangara said, "Mine also is even more simple. You just have to sweep the compound once and then I spent the whole day lying down." So they decided to change jobs. The next day Sangara spent the whole day chasing after the cow and came home exhausted and dog-tired. And Corona spent the whole day sweeping and picking up and sweeping again in the compound. When they met in the night, they decided that as the work was so hard they would look for another. But before they left they asked the yin to pay them their money. The yin said, "The money is in a gourd. You just put your hand in and take as much out as you can." Corona put his hand in the gourd, his fingers were cut. So at once he hid his hand under his arm so Sangara couldn't see, and said, "I've taken my share. Go and take yours." When Sangara put his hand in the gourd, his fingers were cut, and he screamed and shouted, "My fingers are cut! My fingers are cut!" And he showed his hand to Corona, and Corona showed his fingers too. So from that day onwards the two mischievous thieves became handicapped for the rest of their lives.